So these right here are the perfect matchups to make after UFC 316. So starting off with the main event winner, we have got Morab. Morab submitted Sean O'Malley in the third round. Another absolute dominant performance from the bantamweight GOAT. That is factual now. There is no debate. There's like a hair in my mouth. There's maybe no but bro, Dominic Cruz, the guy who beat Uriah Faber, Dominic Cruz, he's the GOAT. Dominic Cruz isn't even top 2 bantamweights of all time. I don't want to hear it anymore. Morab is clearly number 1. What's next for Morab? It's fairly obvious. It was announced. It's him versus Corey Sanhagen. Look, Corey Sanhagen is on a 1-fight win streak. He obviously lost to Umar Nurmagomedov. That's how Umar got the matchup against Morab. And then he got that weird win over Davison Figueiredo. Figgy got injured. It was just a weird matchup, but Corey Sanhagen is next in line. It seems like Dana White has kind of confirmed that. Although, side note, did anyone see Dana White at the post-fight press conference try and be like, ha, that Umar matchup, kid. That rematch is interesting. What is interesting about Umar versus Morab? From an entertainment standpoint, yes, it was a fun fight, but what has Umar done? He didn't even deserve it first time around. So, off a loss to Morab, how is he even in the conversation for a rematch? It doesn't make any sense. It's because of his second name, obviously, and who he's related to. I get that. But no, Corey Sanhagen is next. It is a new matchup for Morab. Obviously, we haven't seen Corey Sanhagen versus Morab. A lot of the guys in the top 5, a lot of the guys in the top 10, all the elite guys anyway, Morab has already beat. So this will be a new, fresh competition for Morab. In terms of, do I think Corey Sanhagen can beat Morab? Absolutely not. I think Corey Sanhagen is going to get absolutely mauled by Morab. I don't think Corey Sanhagen gets finished like Sean O'Malley, but yeah, it's just not going to work. Corey Sanhagen, he is going to fall into the same trap of Sean O'Malley, where he's going to be just so worried about the takedowns, he's actually not going to let his strikes go. And we've kind of seen Corey Sanhagen change his approach in fights, where it used to be he was this really dangerous, unorthodox striker, where now for some reason he's tried to turn into some sort of weird grappler. Morab is going to smoke him. That's the next fight. Hopefully we can see this fight pretty soon. I mean, Morab says he wants to have 4 title defenses by the end of the year, which it's just insane. I understand he's not the most entertaining fighter to watch, but Morab is a personality and he's an active champion, which is very rare nowadays. Alex Pereira is probably one of the more notable ones to come to mind, obviously, but 4 title defenses in a year is unheard of, really. Champions just aren't doing that, so you have to give Morab props for that. I think him versus Sanhagen will just be another classic Morab fight. Just shoot a load of takedowns, get him down. Corey Sanhagen will work his way back up. Couple of strikes here and there from Morab. Shoot another takedown. He beats him by decision. Moving on to the main event loser in Sean O'Malley. Look, Sean O'Malley is in a weird position now. He hasn't said if he's going to move up to 145. I think he should move up to 145. Just in the 2 best guys now, and I'm just going to be honest, in the bantamweight division are Morab and Umar. I think Yan can beat Umar, but gun to my head, who's the 2 best in the division? It's Morab and Umar right now. Sean O'Malley isn't going to get the bantamweight title back. He did improve on his grappling, yes, and I think the fight between him versus Umar might be a bit different because it's just Morab's pace and pressure. Sean O'Malley really struggled to deal with. Pair that with the grappling. I'm still so tired, I'm yet to sleep. But I think Sean O'Malley would be better suited moving up now. He's not going to fight for the belt anytime soon. He's going to have to get at least 2 wins. I think if he moves up to the featherweight division, there's a lot more friendly matchups for him. There's not a lot of grappling heavy guys at the top outside of your moves or Evloev. I think there's a lot of striking matchups that could be really fun for Sean O'Malley. And if Sean O'Malley moves up and gets a win in the featherweight division, he's probably going to be fighting for the belt after that. I'm just going to be honest. Sean O'Malley is still a big star. And I actually think Sean O'Malley could beat Vulcanowski. Right now, I would pick O'Malley to stop Vulcanowski. I know that's crazy and he's coming off a loss, but styles make fights. If he's going to move up, I think you do Yair Rodriguez. Now, whether Yair loses to Vulcanowski, which is the fight nobody wants to see, or whether he loses to Diego Lopez, either which way, Obviously, if in some weird deranged universe, if Yair Rodriguez is to win, this kind of fucks his plan up, but he's not going to beat either one of those guys, so I'm confident in saying this. Sean O'Malley versus Yair Rodriguez is a banger matchup, let's just be honest.
I need the max win.
Who's going to complain about that? Yair Rodriguez welcoming Sean O'Malley to the featherweight division. Perfect co-main event to a card. Perfect feature fight depending on how big the card is. Could be its own fight night main event. Maybe in Arizona. Take it where Sean O'Malley is based. Or maybe if they go to Mexico, Sean O'Malley would be up for a fight night there against Yair Rodriguez. Because we know the UFC are so desperate to get the Mexican audience on board. But yeah, Yair Rodriguez, Sean O'Malley, I think that's a fun matchup, I really do. I think that there is a great matchup. And if he is to stay at bantamweight, I think you just run this fight now. I know it's another grappler, per se, but Henry Cejudo's been calling out Sean O'Malley for a while. He is ranked number 9. I think him versus O'Malley is a good fight night main event. I think O'Malley would beat Henry Cejudo. I really do believe that. I think he would stop Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo has been calling out Sean O'Malley for a very long time. There's a bit of history between both guys, bit of bad blood. They're from the same area, so this could be a big fight night main event in Arizona. Personally, if it was me, I would want to see Sean O'Malley move up, but if he is to stay in the bantamweight division, I think this is a big fight to have. Two big names, Triple C, Henry Cejudo, former 2-division world champion, and then you've got Sean O'Malley, big star in the UFC, former UFC bantamweight champion. I think those are the directions that the UFC should go for Sean O'Malley. Moving on, Mr. Olympia is your new women's bantamweight champion. We know what we're getting. It's Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunez. Please make this the early prelim opener. Like, I don't want to see this shit main event a card. And that's what we're going to get. You know, we are going to get Kayla Harrison, Amanda Nunez headlining a pay-per-view card. If this fight happens, it's headlining a card, which is just insane. And nobody wants to see that. I don't mind seeing the fight. Amanda Nunez was entertaining at spots. Not all the time, not... Bro, I need Amanda Nunez back. I couldn't give a shit if she came out of retirement or not. I do not care. If this fight is to happen, early prelim opener, that's the best. Early prelim opener, that's where that fight needs to go. Moving on, we have got Joe Pyer. Really boring matchup against Kevin Gassam, to be honest. Landed some big shots, big right hands early on. Couldn't get the finish. Kind of fell in love with trying to look for that one-shot knockout power. People forget, man. Joe Pyer hits harder than Ngannou. What's next for him? Abbas Magomedov. Both guys are on a 2-fight win streak. Abbas coming off a win over Michel Pyer. He is ranked number 15. Looking through other spots, other guys just outside the rankings in the middleweight division. The UFC are obviously fond of Joe Pyer. They like the guy. I think him versus Abbas is a fun fight. Both guys are finishers. I think Joe Pyer would win this matchup, although I don't know how much further up in the rankings Joe Pyer would get. I don't think he's as good as what we all thought. Personally, that's just my opinion. Abbas Magomedov is good, has a really shit gas tank, if we're being honest. I think if he doesn't get Joe Pyer out of there in the first round, which I think he'd really struggle with, then I think he's just a sitting duck for him. But again, it's a fight that makes sense, in my opinion, and keeps the division moving in the right direction. Moving on, we have got Mario Batista. Great performance against Patchy Mix in there. Patchy Mix obviously took the fight on short notice, but again, a complete stylistic change-up for Mario Batista, so you have to give the guy props for being willing to go in there and get the win. I know he looked awful against Jose Aldo and shouldn't have won that fight, but he had a fun fight against Patchy Mix. Very fun fight style that he portrayed in there. Looked really good on the feet, really slick. I think this guy can go a long way in the division. I think you just run it back. Him versus Chito Vera. Chito Vera is still going to be above him in the rankings. Chito Vera is a former UFC title challenger, so that would be a good thing for Mario Batista to get under his belt. I also think it's an intriguing matchup because Chito Vera does hit hard, and if you are not on your A game, Chito Vera will stop you. I think this is a good fight for Mario Batista stylistically. I think it's a very, very winnable matchup for him. 9 times out of 10 he beats Chito Vera. There always is that just one-off puncher's chance type thing. I think you just run it back. Cheeto's number 7. Mario Batista's number 10. I can't imagine they move him up for beating Patchy Mix. So just run it back. I think it's a fight to run back. Mario Batista didn't take any damage in there against Patchy Mix. But maybe he damaged his hands because Patchy Mix was just a fucking heavy bag in there for him, so we'll need to see if anything comes from that. Cheeto Vera did pull out injured. I don't know what his injury was, so I don't know how long he's going to be out for. But yeah, I think Mario Batista, Cheeto Vera, rebook it. Moving on to Patchy Mix, realistically what should be happening to him is he should be fucking sent back to the PFL. Because by what do you buy? It's just alcohol. What the fuck was that from Patchy Mix? Ass. Like, honestly, the skill gap between the Bellator fighters and the UFC fighters is absolutely ludicrous. It's insane. He looked awful. He looked ass in there. Stiff as a board. Striking was awful. Zero head movement. Looked like he had cement attached to his feet. No threat of a takedown whatsoever. Yeah. What's next for Patchy Mix? I think you give him Jonathan Martinez. You've obviously got names like Cody Garbrandt, stuff like that outside of the rankings. But Jonathan Martinez on a 2-fight losing streak, I don't think Patchy Mix deserves a big name. Jonathan Martinez, Patchy Mix, book it. I think this is a hard matchup for Patchy Mix as well. I think Jonathan Martinez is going to butcher his legs. If he doesn't know how to move and get his feet going, I think he's in serious trouble from Jonathan Martinez. Jonathan Martinez is just fringe top 15 level in my opinion. Obviously he was inside the top 15. He's not anymore. I think it's a fun fight as well. I think it's a good prelim fight. I don't know how much they're paying Patchy Mix. I don't really think there's any hype for Patchy Mix at all anymore. So I'm going to say like prelim. I think it's a good prelim fight to a pay-per-view card, in my opinion. Moving on, we have a Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland made his call out of Colby Covington. I think you make that fight happen. Kevin Holland should be ranked inside the top 15 when the welterweight rankings do get updated. He got his Darce choke on Vicente Luque at UFC 316. Looked really good in there. He's called out Colby Covington. I think this is a fight that Colby Covington will take. Colby is at the end of his career. Obviously, we know there is a hole in Kevin Holland's game, and that is wrestlers. However, Kevin Holland at welterweight is just it's just on smoke. And I think he would beat up Colby Covington. I actually think he would stop Colby Covington. I think the takedown defense that Kevin Holland possesses at welterweight is so different from middleweight. I think he can match these guys in strength, which helps him. I think when they get him to the mat, his long limbs, he's very awkward to hold down and control. Colby isn't a submission threat. He isn't a KO threat at all. If it's 3 rounds, definitely Kevin Holland beats him. If it's 5 rounds, you can maybe see past the victory for Colby Covington. But I think Colby would really struggle to get Kevin Holland down. I think there is that real submission threat anyway. If he is to look to try and get Kevin Holland down, if he's looking to grapple with him, there is a big submission threat there now with Kevin Holland. And on the feet, look, I'm going to be honest, it's just night and day difference. Colby is done, in my opinion. But I think it's a good fight to make. I think it could be a good fight night headliner. I would prefer to see a better fight night, but just with the way the UFC carry out fight nights, in the grand scheme of things, this actually wouldn't be that bad. Moving on, we have got Joshua Van. Look, Joshua Van, number 14th ranked in the UFC's flyweight division. Let's get him moved up in the rankings now. Asat Mladenov on a 1-fight losing streak, lost him an El Cap. He's number 8 in the division. Let's get Joshua Van going. I know this is a big jump up in competition for him, but I think he's more than ready. He's 23 years of age. He's very exciting. The UFC's flyweight division needs names, prospects climbing to the top that could be potential threats to Pantoja. Joshua Van, I'm not saying he's going to beat Pantoja, but he would be a new, fresh opposition for Pantoja to possibly face in the future. Asat Mladenov is also good. I think he could beat Joshua Van, yes. But Joshua Van, his skill set, coming off a big finish win, and momentum and the activity from this guy, I think Joshua Van, Asat Mladenov, perfect fight to make next for the flyweight division. Waldo, Cortez, Costa. Look, I think you just let him finish the gauntlet of UFC fraud checking heavyweights, the gatekeepers. He just beat Spivak in a close fight. I think you have him against Tybura. Looking at the other heavyweights, what do? Do you do him versus the winner of Derek Lewis versus Talishan Teixeira? I think he's above those guys in the rankings now anyway. After a win over Sergey Spivak, he'll definitely be inside the top 10. I think you do him versus Tybura. Again, prelim, pay-per-view fight. Makes sense. and then we can get Waldo, Cortez, Costa maybe moving up if he is able to beat Tybura. If he beats Tybura, he solidifies himself as a top 10 worthy UFC heavyweight, because Spivak, Tybura, if you beat them back to back, you've ran the gauntlet of gatekeepers, so you deserve a jump up. And finally, Asat Mladenov, really good win over Brenson Ribeiro, looked really, really good in there. I think you do him versus Vulcanowski, next. Vulcanowski, obviously a mainstay in the top 10, has been for a very long time, is coming off a loss to Carlos Oberg. He's a big puncher. Asat Mladenov, big puncher also. I think it's a fun fight. I think Asat Mladenov is just really good everywhere. I think he would beat Vulcanowski, but it's time to get this guy a jump up in the rankings. So yeah, those are the matchups that I think need to be made after UFC 316. Let me know what fights you would like to see next. Who do you think wins these hypothetical matchups? And as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you all again in the next one.